So my name is Mark and this is a 20-minute mobility session. It's the kind of thing I would do if I was at home, which I am right now, had 20 minutes and wanted to focus on something. So tonight we're going to focus on the shoulder rotators. So when I take my arm out to the side, my thumb straight up in the air and then I bring it down, I'm internally rotating the arm. When I take my thumb back, I'm externally rotating the arm. So we're going to focus on that movement this evening. Standing comfortably, hands down by the side, we're just going to twist from one side to the other, letting the arms go nice and heavy. And as you twist, just lift the back heel off the floor. So that back heel's coming up, hands are nice and heavy, as we just gently twist from side to side, gradually increasing the tempo, just putting a little bit more effort into this and making sure that those arms are staying nice and loose and heavy. Should start to feel the fingers fill up a little bit, get a little bit heavier here as they're nice and relaxed. And give that a little rest. From here we're just going to take the arms out in front. One elbow is on top, arms reaching behind to hug behind you, opening up and then swapping over. It's a little pause at the back when your hands reach the back and then come on out. Make sure that each time you do it, you're just swapping one elbow on top of the other. Again, just to warm up the shoulders, get everything ready for what we're about to go through. And then drop them down. Just going to slowly take one arm round in circles now. So that circle, the hands coming up out in front and then going directly behind. There's a little bit of a rotation here from the torso. And as we do this, we can start to put a little bit of momentum through the back half of the swing and then just let that momentum carry the arm up to the top. Nice and relaxed through the shoulder. With any of this shoulder stuff, if you're getting any pain or discomfort, just stop what you're doing there. Go back to something that was not causing the pain or discomfort. And we'll swap it over to the other side. Again, it's just that slow movement around, a little bit of movement through the torso. And I'm just applying a little bit of effort through that downward portion of this movement and then letting the momentum just carry my hand up to the top. And give that a little shake out. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit warmer. Just going to do a little bit of external and internal rotation with the arms straight out to the side. For here, try and keep your shoulders back and down. Don't let them hunch forward and creep up towards your ears. Keep them down as you bring one thumb up and take it as far back as you can, while the other thumb drops down. And then we slowly come back to start and swap it over. So we're moving all the way into, as far as we can, into external rotation with one shoulder, internal rotation with the other. Slow and control this movement here. Just really exploring where our range is. Again, try and keep those shoulders down and under control. Don't let them push up towards the ears. And control this movement all the way to the end. So I'm really working quite hard right in my end range to see how far I can get, so long as there's no pain at all. Slow and controlled. So make sure you're keeping your ribs under control. You're not doing anything strange with your lower back, sticking your belly out in front, but those ribs are staying tucked. And it's just a movement from the shoulders. Drop that down, give it a little shake out. Next we're just going to reach up with one hand and the palm is facing in towards my back. My lower hand reaches behind with the palm facing away from my back and just going as far as you can. If you can touch the fingers, fantastic, but just as far as you can with that range. Slowly come out of there and then swap it over. That high hand, palm is facing into the back, low hand, palm is facing away, and bring those hands as close together as you can. As you're doing this movement, keep your spine upright. If you catch yourself hunching forward to try and create this shape, then just go as far as you can without allowing that hunch to happen. Going as far as you can, slowly bring it to the other side. Slowly alternating sides. Again, I'm really working quite hard right at the end range here to really get as much movement out of my shoulders as I can. And we'll go for one more. Slowly bring the arms back out, drop them down, give them a gentle little shake out. For this first sort of real opening kind of stretch, or just a limbering technique, I'm going to use the ring here, and I'm just going to take a hold of that ring. You could do the same thing, just with the hand pressed up against the wall. So from here, down on all fours, I'm going to take a hold of that ring. If you're using the wall just down on all fours, take your hand up against the wall and put a little bit of pressure into that wall there with the palm of your hand. So up against the wall, or hold on to something if you can. Let the chest just sink down a little bit towards the floor. And now we're going to work through our internal and external rotation again. So rotating the shoulder as far as you can. And then slowly rotating back in the opposite direction. Try and keep the chest sinking down. So it's quite a stretch through the front of the shoulder. It's still moving through this internal and external pattern of movement. Again, any pain or discomfort, just come on out. And slowly come out of there. Bring that arm down, give it a gentle little shake out. And then just flip yourself around if you're up against the wall, set it up for the other side. Hand reaches up against the wall or take hold onto something above you. If you're against the wall, just put a bit of pressure into the wall and then sink your chest low. And from here it's just a shoulder movement. Internal rotation as far as you can. Pause for a second at the end. And then external rotation as far as you can. Pause for a second there. And then continue through this movement. Again, it's slow and controlled here. Don't throw yourself through this, but really try and connect with every part of the movement. Try and keep it as smooth as possible. Try and discover if you've got any tight lines throughout this movement, any areas where you really notice it start to pull a lot more. And we'll just go once more all the way through. And slowly release that arm, let it drop down. Little movements to begin with. So when we take our arm out to the side, we've got external rotation. We're going to stretch those muscles out by putting our arm into internal rotation here. So from here, make a gentle fist with your hand. Find your hip bone and just place that fist just on the front of your hip bone here. Try and keep your wrist relatively flat throughout this next little stretch. If you collapse on that wrist, you can end up putting a lot of pressure down here and it just becomes a little bit overwhelming. So try and keep that wrist flat as you reach across and take a hold of the elbow, and then slowly pull that elbow forward in front. And here, this is not a torso rotation, so you're not pulling your whole body around, but your torso is pointing directly forwards while the elbow is now coming out in front. These are fairly small little muscles that we're stretching here, and they don't often give the same sensation as you'd get, say, doing like a big hamstring stretch or something like that. So it can feel a little bit awkward when you first start stretching these ones out. Just go to wherever feels comfortable. In time, this awkwardness actually becomes a little bit more comfortable as you become more familiar with it. But for now, just whatever feels right for you today. We can get a little bit active here by holding this elbow in position with the hand, and now strongly try and push your elbow back to where it came from. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax, take a breath in. As you breathe out, just see if you can pull that elbow around just a little bit more. Getting a little deeper into this stretch. From here we can work on actively holding this position as well. So what I'm going to do is now release this front hand, but try not to let the elbow spring back. So I'm using the muscles that hold my arm out in this position to hold that there. If I can even pull that elbow a little further into the stretch. Just holding that. Again, if you cramp up or anything, just come on out, give that a little stretch. And slowly release that. Drop that arm down, give it a gentle shake out. All this shoulder stuff, start with little movements, then start to get a little bit bigger as you come back into it. Set it up for the other side. So it's gentle fist just on your hip, slightly to the front of the hip bone. Keep the wrist nice and flat, and now take your hand across, reach the elbow, torso going straight in front while you pull that elbow across. And then breathe. So from here we can get a little bit active. Brace yourself with this front hand. Strongly push the elbow back to where it started from for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax, take a breath in. As you breathe out, just see if you can pull that elbow a little further across. And then we'll actively hold this position. So from here, engage the muscles to hold that elbow in position. As you release that front hand, strongly holding the elbow there, even try and pull it a little deeper into the stretch if you can. Again, if it cramps up, just come on out, give it a gentle stretch. Slowly release that, drop it down, a little shake out through there. For our next stretch, we're now going to do the opposite. So We were just stretching out our external rotators, and now we're going to stretch out our internal rotators. Remember, I'm going to make an L with one arm and scoop the other arm underneath so that I can reach around and just take a hold of that palm. If you can bring those fingers all around, wherever's comfortable. I like to have a nice flat wrist on this side. Elbows up nice and high. Push the elbows out in front and then start to bring this hand back down. So I'm really using my bottom arm here to help bring my hand down towards the ground. Putting me into external rotation. And then breathe. You can get active by taking your bottom hand and pushing it up towards the ceiling as though you're trying to reverse the rotation. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, just see if you can bring that hand a little further around. And then breathe. Slowly release that again. Just let that arm hang down to begin with. Little shoulder movements, slowly getting a little bit bigger. Take the other hand, scoop it around. So now it's the opposite one coming under as I scoop it to reach around. Take a hold of the side of the wrist. Push the elbows out in front. Lift the elbows up high. Then start to take this hand down into external rotation at the shoulder. And breathe. From here again, we can get active by pushing this hand up towards the ceiling, bracing it there, but it's trying to unwind the rotation. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, just see if you can sink that just a little deeper. And slowly drop that down out of there. Little movements to begin with. Gently make it a little bit bigger. Just going to finish with a little bit of active work through our shoulders. So down on all fours, my knees and balls of the feet are down on the floor, and my hands are about one hand distance in front of my knees from this position here. From here, lift your knees up off the floor, so I'm just on palms and balls of the feet. Strongly push down through your hands as you spin yourself around just to sit facing side on. So I'm really loaded up on this left shoulder right now. Pushing down through that shoulder, I bring my knees all the way back through, and now I'm swapping over, pushing through the other arm. As I just do a bit of a gentle sit and twist, engaging my shoulders as I start to move my torso from side to side. Slowly going from one side to the other. As you sink down into your seated position, make sure you're still actively pushing your shoulder down towards the floor. So the shoulder is a long way from your ear. You haven't collapsed in, but you're still pushing down. Head is up nice and high. Chest is out nice and straight. Strong through your shoulders as you go from side to side. You can increase this slightly by coming around and lifting your hips up nice and high. Push the shoulders down towards the floor and then sink back down onto the other side, still pushing that shoulder away from the ear. Come up, push those hips up high, shoulders get pushed towards the floor, sink down to the other side. Slowly moving from side to side through this. And there we have it. Another 20 minutes of mobility, all about the shoulder rotators. I hope you found this helpful. Thanks for joining in. If you've liked this, please hit the like button, hit the share button, share this around, let people know what we're doing. See you next week.